Hello everybody, welcome to English with Mrs. Craven on Thursday the 25th of February 2021. Now before we find out what we are learning to do today, we are going to see if we can answer some retrieval questions. So the first thing I'd like you to think about is, what is a story map? How should we design a story map? Should we draw all of the story? And how can we use a story map? How does it help us? How can we use it? So if you want to pause the video here, have a think about it, have a talk about it. What can you remember from our previous learning? Well, let's see how we did. A story map is a little map of pictures, a drawing of pictures from a story that we can use to help record a story in pictures. And we don't need to draw all of the story in pictures. We just need to draw the main parts of the story, the start, the middle, and the end of it, to remind us of what happens, the main parts. And we draw the pictures in the sequence that they happen. And we can use arrows to help us show what happens at the start, the middle, and the ending. And we can label our map, our story map, with those words start, middle, and ending as well. And we can use the drawings on our map from stories to help us retell a story in our own words and to remember what happens. We can also use a story map to think of and make up our very own stories from the beginning, like we did on Sudden Hill when we were pretending maybe to be a soldier or an astronaut or a pirate, and we planned our very own stories using story maps, so we can use them in different ways. Now today we are learning to retell a traditional tale using features of a narrative. And to be successful, we'll be saying, can you retell Jack and the Beanstalk verbally? That means out loud, using your voice, using story language. And can you retell Jack and the Beanstalk by drawing a story map? Now, children at school, children at home, can you recall what a traditional tale is? We've already learnt about traditional tales in our previous learning in September and October when you first joined Year 1. So can you remember anything about a traditional tale? Can you name any? Can you think of any language or story words that might be in a traditional tale? And can you think of any characters that you know that might be in a traditional tale? Now, let's pause the video, have a think, have a discussion. How much prior knowledge can you remember? And there are a couple of clues on my screen. Hey, how did you do? Even if you just remembered a couple of things, that's great. You've remembered some of your prior learning. Well done. A traditional tale is a tale that often gets retold over many years. And it often has story language in it, like once upon a time, long, long ago, far, far away, and they nearly always end happily ever after. Some of them that you might have remembered are Little Red Riding Hood, The Three Billy Goats Gruff, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And there's a little clue on my screen if any of you read it, it says that they quite often have talking animals in them, and the talking animals quite often are one of the main characters, like the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood and the Three Little Pigs. They quite often have words in them to describe the characters, like big and bad and little. Did you think of any other characters? Maybe you thought of the troll from the Three Billy Goats Gruff. That's a traditional tale. Maybe you thought of the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk. There are quite a lot of traditional tales, so I hope that's jogged your memory and that you've managed to think of a few or by yourself that I haven't mentioned yet. Now, children, can you remember the traditional tale that you read yesterday of Jack and the Beanstalk? There are some pictures on my screen to help you if you need a little reminder. Now, as a class for the children in school, we are going to verbally retell the story. And we are going to do this to help us with our main activity. Children at home, you're going to do the same. You're going to use your voice, you're going to talk and retell the story out loud. You're not going to write it down or draw pictures yet. You're just going to retell it out loud in your own words, just like we are, and remembering to think about what happened at the beginning, what happened in the middle, what happened at the end, using story language. And you can use the pictures on my screen to help you. So we're going to do that now at school, and you can pause the video and do that now at home. Off you go. Right, I hope you had fun retelling your story. Now, our main task for everybody is that we are going to use the skills that we learnt last week to make a story map about Jack and the Beanstalk. Now remember, children, that we need to think about the start, middle and ending when we are drawing a story map. We don't need to put down every single thing that happens. We need to put down the main events. Now at school, I'm going to model, that means show the children, remind the children how to draw a story map. So if you feel, adults at home, that you would like to give your child a reminder or do a practice one together first, then you can do that too. You can do that in your purple book, a practice one first, or on some scrap paper, or however you would like to do it. And then, children, what we're all going to do, whether we're at home or at school, is you're going to draw your story map all by yourself. So we need to draw some pictures to show what happens at the beginning of Jack and the Beanstalk, the parts that you think are the most important, then the parts for the middle that you think are important. So maybe you need to show the things that Jack takes from the giant. And again, that's up to you. And then show some pictures that happen at the end. And everyone, I'd like you to try and label your story map with start, middle, and end. And if you'd like support spelling those words, we're going to use a phonics mat to help us sound those words out. I think they are on one of my next slides. And if you would like to fly high, then not only can you label it, but you could write 3 sentences to explain what's happening at each part of your story map. And you could do that on another page in your books if you need the space. And you could try and include some adjectives, maybe a conjunction, and always remember to think about your punctuation, your capital letters, your finger spaces, and your full stops. Now, let's reflect. Have we been able to do any of the following today? Have we been able to retell Jack and the Beanstalk verbally, out loud, using our voices, using some story language? If you have, well done. You can have a thumbs up. Have you been able to retell Jack and the Beanstalk by drawing a story map? I think we're all going to achieve that because we've practiced it before. So thumbs up again. Now, well done. We've all done really well today. If you would like to share your learning with us, please email us at parentssupport@shepherdswell.emat.uk, and I will include the phonics sound mats in this way. So you can open them and look at them there, or you can print them if you have access to the printer. Bye everybody.